She's going.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Bonnie Willingham. I'm Deputy Chairwoman of the Audit and Finance Committee, and I am going to call this meeting to order tonight, May 30th, 2024. And we'll begin with the council calling the attendance right now.
Sure, Madam Chairwoman. Ms. Willingham?
Present.
Reedy?
Present.
Clay and Ray Joyce are excused. Camisso?
Here.
Demalowitz?
Here.
Lakakis? Yep. Bergdorf?
Here.
And Grimm?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Very good. All right, we're going to start right now, and hopefully we'll be able to get through this meeting. It's such a beautiful day out. All right, we're going to start with previous business. Council?
The first item is approving the previous meeting minutes.
Very good. I have a motion from Mr. Demalowitz. I got a second from Mr. Reedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
Item 2 is tabled at the request of sponsor. Item 3 is local law number F for 2024, local law of the County of Albany, New York, amending Chapter 270. Of the Albany County Code to provide a real property tax exemption for living quarters for parent or grandparent. And the chairwoman of this committee has been named the prime sponsor, and Mr. McGuire is here this evening to discuss.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Let's see. So, local law F for 2024. It's New York State Real Property Tax Law, Section 469 permits a real property tax exemption for properties that were constructed or reconstructed to provide living quarters for parents or grandparents who are 62 or older. In order to allow for the local law, the county would need to, in order to allow for the exemption, the county would need to adopt a local law allowing for the exemption. The property must be located in the county, constructed or reconstructed after January 1st of 2023, and the exemption would be the amount equal to the lesser of the increase of assessed value based on that reconstruction or construction, 20% of the assessed value of the property, or 20% of the median sale price of residential properties within the county. The 2023 median sale price of properties was $280,000. So that was based upon 2,881 sales. The applicant would have to file an annual application with their assessor's office, certifying that the space is still the residence of the parent or grandparent. I don't know if anybody in the committee has any questions regarding local law F or the underlying property tax exemption.
Very good. Do I have any questions from members? Mr. Grimm?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, you said that you can get the benefit if it's after January 1st, 2023?
Yes, if the construction occurred after that point.
All right, so people have already put the addition on, they would get the tax break, but how would that work? 2023 is already transferred.
So if the certificate of occupancy or certificate of completion was issued by the municipal building department on or after that date, then those properties would be eligible for the exemption.
Going forward.
Correct.
So the first time they would get the benefit would be 2024?
Sorry, it would be for the, in this case, just understood the question, forgive me, would be on the 2025 assessment roll. The 2024 assessment roll was, the tentative roll was released May 1st. Last night, or actually Tuesday night, was grievance night for most municipalities. So this would be on the 2025 assessment roll. So the first time, in practical purposes, that someone would see a discount on their taxes would be January of 2026 on the 2026 county tax bill.
Okay, so there's no expenditure from a budget that year that's already passed?
No. This is all, an exemption for taxes that are yet to be determined.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Bergdorf?
I just want to echo the comments I made last night. I think this is a finely crafted piece of legislation which is going to make a real contribution to kinship housing across the county, because intergenerational housing is not a problem that is experienced in any one neighborhood or any one family. Many of us have experienced this. And I really think this legislation has the proper safeguards built in. It is income targeted so that we're not giving it away to people who make millions of dollars. And when the individual for whose benefit the exemption is being granted is no longer in the household per annual certification to the local assessor, the exemption gets clawed back. So there are all sorts of safeguards built in for a fantastic program. That's why I put my name on it, and that's why I'm going to support it.
Very good. Very good, thank you. Do I have any other comments? Okay, Mr. Demalowitz would like to be added?
You can add me too.
And did you get Mr. Bergdorf?
Add me too.
Okay. Mr. Camisso?
Madam Chair, may I make one additional comment?
Certainly.
And forgive me, I'm advocating. This exemption is only applicable to the county taxes. So in order for other taxing jurisdictions, the city, the town, or the school districts to allow for this exemption, they would either need to pass a local law on their own accord or a resolution on behalf of the school board. Given your stature within the community, I would ask if you could advocate on behalf of those other taxing jurisdictions as well. So, and hopefully I don't get yelled at for doing that. Sorry.
Fair.
Any other comments? Any other people want to be added as sponsors?
As we had last night at the law committee.
Okay. All right, very good. All right.
I can just, yeah, you can have me.
All right, can I get a motion?
So
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Camiso, got a second from Mr. Bowles. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous, thank you very much.
Item 4 is amending the rules and regulations for Albany County employees regarding changes to accruals and health coverage. Commissioner Clement is here.
Good evening. I'll briefly go through each of the items in this amendment. The first item is for reverting to the minimum years of service for continued spousal coverage into retirement. Did anyone have any questions about number 1?
Can you speak a little louder?
Sure. The first item is relating to surviving spousal coverage, reverting to a previous requirement to have 15 years of service for continued spousal coverage into retirement.
Any questions on item number 1? Okay, next.
The second one is to rescind Resolution 37 of 2013, which limits the number of accruals you can cash out upon separation from service, which is 6 weeks of accruals. However, employees are eligible to earn greater than 6 weeks, so this would revert to the previous rule, which is 13 weeks of accrual cash out.
Any questions? And again, I'm going to ask you to
Speak up. Sorry. Number 3 is for paid parenting leave, which would be the first 6 weeks of leave under FMLA for the birth, placement, or adoption or foster care.
She said for 6 weeks. You said for the first 6 weeks?
First 6 weeks of 12 weeks of FMLA.
I just had a question I didn't ask in personnel, but when I heard you talking in personnel, Mark raised the question as to whether a husband and wife could both take this leave at the same time. And I think you said if they were in separate departments, they could, and their position was approved for it. Is that accurate?
We're following the provisions under FMLA, which permit the employer to, if it's a hardship on the employer, to allow the 2 employees to have leave at the same exact time. They may limit it to be a back-to-back leaves of absence. In that case, we would grant the same benefit to both.
Okay. The question I have is under FMLA, is FMLA paid leave?
No, it is use of your own accruals.
Okay. So if you have your own accruals under FMLA, it just says no matter sort of what the circumstances of the department are, you get to take the time?
Yes, well, as long as you qualify for FMLA. This is specific to family leave for the birth, placement, or adoption.
Okay. What I'm trying to figure out is anybody paid double in any circumstance?
No.
No. So the best that could happen would be if they could use their own accruals, or if they didn't have their own accruals, their job would be held for them for this period of time.
So this is proposing that the first 6 weeks of the 12 weeks, they wouldn't have to charge accruals. It would be a paid leave Following that paid leave, they could then charge their own accruals
So there is a paid leave for the 6 weeks?
the first 6 weeks
Okay.
under this proposal.
For both families, for the, both of the
Parents.
couple, parents, thank you. I was just searching for the right word.
Yes.
If they both work for us.
Okay. I understand. Thank you.
Were there any other questions?
Okay. I'm sorry, I want to go back to number 3, number 2. Okay? Where it says remove the 30-day limit on vacation accruals for liquidation at separation and revert back to the previous 65 days. So now, if you could just, I'm going to ask a question, and if please correct me so I understand. So now, are they paid for 30 days if they have, at the time of separation, or now, and now it's going back to 65 days?
If you were hired after 2013, you can only cash 6 weeks of your accruals.
You can only what?
Cash, liquidate 6 weeks of vacation. If you were hired prior to 2013, you can cash 13 weeks of vacation accruals upon separation from service.
Okay, so now, do you allow people to extend their time for the 65 days, or do we pay them in a lump sum?
We have always paid them in a lump sum. At the time that this resolution was passed, we didn't have any accrued liability lines, and now in various departments, we have established accrued liability lines.
So when is it then that people use their time up? Like they're on the payroll until, what is that? They're on the payroll until all of their time is used up.
We don't have any,
We don't do that?
we don't currently have any situations like that. What we do is we pay it out. I think what you're referring to is when we hold a line for the payout of those accruals so we don't overrun the budgetary amount of that line by having a person in the line prematurely where the line is still being paid out.
So when did we start that?
I'm not aware that we ever had people receiving a weekly check following separation.
Yeah, I think Madam Chairwoman is concerned about the instance in which you could not hire a new person until the accruals were being paid out, or while the accruals were being paid out in a particular line for that. And I think that it's the accrued liability.
Yes, so previously, well, currently also, if an individual cashes out 13 weeks of accruals upon separation, they hold the line vacant for the period of time that you cashed out, up to 13 weeks, so that the line didn't run over when they hired a new individual into that line. But now, most departments have an accrued liability line where that line is then utilized to cash out someone's vacation accruals.
So, but they are paid in a lump sum.
Yes.
The next one now? All right, thank you. And the last one?
The last item is pertaining to donated leave. Currently, employees cannot utilize sick time to donate to another employee. This is altering that rule, allowing employees who have in excess of 13 weeks to permit them to donate sick leave to another employee in need.
Any questions on it? Everybody good? That's good.
Yeah, just a comment, Madam Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Graham.
Let it never be said that we don't take care of our employees. This is a very generous and expensive package that we're giving them. But as the Commissioner has said, there is an issue with retention and recruitment that we really have to seriously address. So I'm going to support it, but let it be known that we really have made a concerted effort to take care of our employees, and this is an indication of that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the one for people who are the ones that are adopting children. I think that's something that's long overdue,
Yes.
and I'm very impressed with that one myself. All right, can I get a motion? Second, I got a motion from Ms. Jacobs, I got a second from Mr. Reedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5 is amending resolution number 176 for 2022 as amended regarding American Rescue Plan Act advisory services and amending the 2024 Albany County budget. I would note that we did receive an updated cover letter for this item, which has been updated in Granicus as well.
And can you speak to, please, what the actual amount is, since this is prorated?
Yes, I believe that's in the cover letter. But I can out front say the amount would be $63,750.
Okay, speak up.
Sure. So, good evening, members of the committee. As was indicated, the updated request that is before you is a partial extension of our ARPA advisory services contract with CMA Advisors. So this would extend to the end of 2024. I think after considering several options, it was determined that the partial extension provides the county with necessary continuity to complete the obligation phase of ARPA, which is by the end of this year, all ARPA funds need to be obligated, while simultaneously providing the county with flexibility in terms of next steps around the remaining ARPA period from including 2025 and 2026. As mentioned, the amount of the contract would be $63,750, which would be the prorated amount of that partial extension to December 31st, 2024. There is no county share in the sense that it is federally funded. And just to add a little bit of context to this, as you're all aware, this was tabled at the last meeting following concerns that at the same time an issue had arisen with one of our recovery grant applicants and the process with which that applicant was processed in the ARPA review. The item was tabled and we immediately began working with the legislature to identify the best next step in terms of ensuring that the county continued to have advisory services that the county does not have the expertise or capacity to handle internally. And I will say that many options were considered, including not extending the contract and potentially exploring procurement of alternative contractors. But there was I think a general recognition that there were significant risks and issues with that approach because procurement would take 3, 4, 5 months when you're talking about procurement approval and onboarding. And we are really in a pivotal moment and time with the remainder of our ARPA funds. As I mentioned earlier, the obligation period ends at the end of this year. So we were in the sort of the final stretch of the awarding of ARPA funding, and that continuity to ensure that we both are able to properly award these funds and also have consistency with our compliance efforts, which are very robust, and that's a process that was developed in conjunction with our county Department of Management and Budget, that it was necessary to continue to have that continuity over the coming months, again, while preserving flexibility going forward and recognizing that there was a obviously shared frustration with the issues that we had in the last couple of months related to ARPA. As mentioned, the proposal on the table is a partial extension, and I'm happy to answer any questions related to the request.
Are there any questions from me, Mr. Graham?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So originally it was for more than, it was a couple of years or two.
The extension, yeah, so the RFP allowed for 2 one-year extensions.
Yeah, and the problem was, our contractors won't win any Contractor of the Year awards. There were some issues there. But you also recognize that we can't change the horse at the end of the race here. It would be much more problematic if we went to another vendor. So it's worth it to take it out to the end of the year. Do you feel comfortable with that? That's enough time working with the consultant to do the business that you're required to do?
Yeah, I think that continuity, I think we're in a good position to close out the obligation phase in a good way for the county. And as mentioned, there's still additional options going beyond that, but the focus is get through the obligation phase and continue to have discussions about what we want to do going forward post the December 31st, when you're done with the approvals, done with the grant phases, and are in the compliance phase as well as the subrecipient monitoring, which is an extensive responsibility. So I think this is a good middle ground, and it gives us it preserves flexibility for us in terms of next steps going into 2025 and 2026.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Bergdorf?
Yes. You had talked about you're confident that, I concur with your judgment and your recommendation to go out to April 25. My question is, that gets us through the obligation phase. You have talked about the complexity of compliance and the benefit of having someone who knows and is familiar with the grants. If we were to, are our options in April of 25 for the next year and a half for compliance, or however long we have to do compliance, is it either to do it ourselves or to extend CMA or to bring in another vendor?
So
Just say
date-wise,
April 25.
yeah,
We're shortening that contract to the end of this year.
No, it says April 25, I think in here. Doesn't
Yeah,
it?
the documents have it as April 25, but my understanding is this is only...
Yes, this is the partial extension. It's a 6-month extension to the end of this calendar year.
So we have to...
I'm reading the cover letter. That's the old cover letter from April 25.
Yeah, we have to...
Yeah, there's a
update
separate, there's a
whatever.
separate one, if you go out of that document,
And go in.
there's a new one.
Okay, so
on top.
6 months takes us to what, 12/31?
End of the year, exactly.
End of the year.
12/31,
Yeah.
okay. Well, the question is the same.
Yeah.
Amended to 12/31.
Yeah, I think that you're correct in sort of outlining what our options would be from that point going forward. And it's just that will be something that over the next couple of months, not wanting to wait too long to make that decision, but we can collectively continue to decide, is it continue with the same system that we've set up? Is it, what can we do in-house once it's just the compliance phase? Although I will say that the compliance phase is a significant undertaking, or theoretically, yes, you could have an alternative vendor, and those are all options that I think we can evaluate in the coming months. But importantly, right now, we need this continuity to get to.
I understand that.
get
I'm
to the
just
end of the year.
trying to be realistic in that if you decided to go with a different vendor as opposed to extending, and we weren't going to do it ourselves, a new RFP process would take a couple of months probably. And then there'd be an evaluation phase, and then it would take time to implement. And if you start working back from December 31 and you back up 4 months, this is a decision that literally has to be made probably within the next 90 days.
No question. I agree, and it's something that obviously will not be lost on us, and we'll continue to work. This has been a very collaborative process, and we'll continue to keep it that way to decide. It really comes down to what's in the best interest of the county, and that's what we'll try to hopefully land on consensus around going forward.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Reedy, I got a second from Mr. Johnson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
Thanks.
Item 6 is authorizing an agreement with Tyler Technologies regarding the Munis financial system. Mr. Riley's here this evening.
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the committee. This is the annual renewal for our enterprise resource planning system known as Munis. It handles accounting, HR functionality, basically everything the county does or soup to nuts.
Okay, I have no questions, so I got a motion from Mr. Malwitz, I got a second from Mr. Cactus. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7 is authorizing the correction to the tax roll for the city of Albany. Director McGuire is here this evening.
Good evening. All right, the City of Albany is seeking a correction to the 2024 City of Albany tax bill for 260 Washington Avenue. A clerical error pursuant to real property tax law section 550 sub 2B has occurred. The property is owned by Packard Apartments LLC. The owner is eligible for a mixed-use property tax exemption under real property tax law 485A. The exemption was incorrectly calculated by the assessor's office. We're seeking your approval to correct this error and issue a new tax bill in the amount of $20,098.22.
Do you have any questions? No, I'll entertain a motion. I got a motion from Mr. Cactus, I got a second from Mr. Calista. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Number 8,
All right.
Russell City.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Back to your signatures.
8 is authorizing a payment in lieu of tax agreements with River Road Solar A LLC and River Road Solar B LLC regarding real property located on River Road in the town of Bethel. Director McGuire.
All right. So we're requesting your approval to enter into 2 different 15-year pilot agreements, one with River Road Solar A, the other with River Road Solar B. Each agreement is for a 5-megawatt AC solar array. The agreements are authorized under real property tax law section 487. The county will be receiving $900 per megawatt, totaling $9,000 a year. There is a 2% annual escalator over that 15 years. And if approved, the initial pilot payment should begin in January of 2025.
Since 15, but this says the term is 21, 6 years. It should be 40? Okay, all right, so we're going to correct this. It says, did you say 40? Yeah. Oh, okay, all right. All right, any questions? Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You say they're exempt from taxes even though they're LLCs.
Yeah.
They're private companies. I'll explain that to you.
Real property tax law, section 487, is a exemption for green energy, in essence, right? Solar and there's a few other things, but in our case, solar and wind.
Whether they're business or not.
Correct, doesn't matter what it is. So you put solar arrays on your house, it can be exempt from taxes. Somebody builds a 10 or 5 megawatt solar array, unless we engage them in a pilot agreement, they are exempt from county taxes.
Under the pilot agreement, in order to get the benefit, they're required to deliver certain things. Is that the area that you're talking about?
There's no requirement on where that power goes, what it's used for, who purchases it. They're just exempt from property taxes under 487.
That's a state law?
Correct. The only way we get anything is by entering into a pilot agreement. So if we were to not enter into a pilot agreement, they would be exempt from county taxes 100% for that 15 years, which is what the statute provides.
Do I have any other questions? Okay, no questions. I have a motion from Mr. Demoto. I got a second. From Mr. Reed. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Item 9 is authorizing the conveyance of various parcels of real property located in the city of Albany. Pat Curran is here.
Good evening. So this request is to transfer tax foreclosed properties located in the city of Albany, located at 395 First, 295 Second, and 330 Orange Street. This will be for economic development purposes. They will be transferred. 295 Second will be for $18,000. 330 Orange will be for $21,000, and 395 First will be for $18,000.
All right, do I have any questions on this?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I got a motion from Mr. Reedy, I got a second from Mr. Camisole. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Number 10.
Item 10 is authorizing the distribution of mortgage taxes for the period October 1, 2023 through March 31st, 2024. Commissioner Riley?
So, Madam Chair, members of the committee, this is the standard semi-annual distribution of mortgage recording taxes. They're filed at the clerk's office, held over there. Twice a year, they're sent back to the municipalities where the transactions were taking place in.
Motion. All right, I got a motion from Mr. Camisole.
I'll second.
I got a second from Ms. LaCapis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Item 11 is amending the 2024 Albany County budget for administrative adjustments. Commissioner Riley?
So, Madam Chair, this is our standard annual cleanup resolution, for lack of a better term. These are things we found out after the budget was approved by the legislature. Departments have come back to us, things that somebody's cost of living was missed or a personnel change that they were looking to do was missed. It is done every year, usually sometime between March and now, and it is 100% budget neutral.
Any questions? No questions, I entertain a motion. I got a motion from Demolowitz. And I got a second from Ms. LaCapis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
There is one additional item. Item 12 is amending the secret determination type for a supplemental bond resolution. There was a bond resolution last month that was passed. It inadvertently stated that the secret type was a type 2 and it should have said type 1. The secret performed was in fact, and determination made was in fact for a type 1. So this is just to amend that language.
I don't have any.
It's not on the agenda because it was a last minute addition.
Do we have a piece of paper or something?
No.
Or what project are we amending this for?
This is for the sludge processing project at the water purification district.
Okay, so what did we say?
In the bond resolution last month, it said type 2 in the bond resolution. However, in the secret resolution, it said type 1.
Which is the major determination.
Yes, and it was a type 1. In fact, all of the...
So moved.
Yep.
I'll second it.
Mr. Brown.
Yeah, just a comment. A lot of times they get added, these things that add last minute are not in our iPads, but then we can talk about it, at the meetings. It's very helpful if we actually follow through and put them in the iPads even after the meeting, because it's a record, which I refer to often. So does that happen? Sometimes I don't think that happens.
It generally does happen.
All right, just as a reminder, make sure we can do that, because that's helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You did, and we just need to vote.
Okay.
Bergdorf and Reedy, seconded.
Okay, very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
And now there's no more items.
No more items. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion, Mr. Riley.
You got it.
Aye.
Aye.